Hey guys, welcome back to Dip Switch Demos. My name is Jackson and today I'm going to be talking about my brand new Heritage Guitars H-150. So we're going to touch a little bit on specs on this guitar today, but really I want to talk about my journey towards choosing this guitar and my experience with similar guitars before this and how I've got to know this Heritage and why I think Heritage guitars right now are a better buy than Gibsons. I've been looking for a two humbucker guitar for a few months now, and there are a few options going through my mind, Heritage being one, but I was actually looking at their H-535, their semi-hollow guitar. I was also looking at Maybach, played a few of those, they were all good, and also I've heard good things about Eastman. I knew I didn't want a Gibson. I'm sure if you're sort of around the guitar community a bit, which if you're watching this I guess you are, then Gibson have been in the news over the past couple of years for things. More importantly than that, Gibson haven't done anything in the last few years that have really excited me, haven't brought anything out that has resonated with me or piqued my interest. And I guess as a company, their philosophies don't really align with my own. I really thought I was looking for a semi-hollow guitar, like a 335 type thing. I've owned one or two Les Pauls before, you guys know I love my Les Paul Jr. But as far as standard Les Pauls go, I've sort of had one or two before and very quickly fallen out of love with them and just sort of have now assumed that they weren't my sort of thing. And that was really until this came along. So before we get into some specs, the reason why I was looking for a two humbucker guitar is probably not what you would expect. I guess you'd expect that it was for rock reasons, which is kind of why I've owned them in the past, but really it was different this time. I've been listening to a lot of funk, modern funk I suppose, and some soul music. I love the new Silk Sonic album. There's an old live Donny Hathaway gig that I'm obsessed with, and I'm also pretty obsessed with the Scary Pockets YouTube channel. And there are two humbucker guitars all over that music. Mainly actually 335s and bigger jazz box guitars, but occasionally a few Les Pauls. And really for me, it's that middle position, hollow, telly-like, twangy, funky sound that you get from two low output PAF style humbuckers. So Heritage is actually a company with a pretty interesting heritage themselves. Funnily enough, they took over, well, a few ex-Gibson employees took over the original Gibson factory in 1985 and continued making guitars in that original spot with all the original machinery and equipment. And out of that came Heritage guitars, and they're still making guitars in that same place. Okay, so this guitar is a Heritage H-150 from their standard range, but it's actually a little more special than that. I believe it is a European limited run of guitars that is the standard H-150 that has been aged or relicked by their custom shop. I believe they call it something like artisan aged, and the aging is pretty beautiful. It's subtle, but there's a really impressive checking on the top. It almost looks flamed because of the checking, but the top is actually pretty plain, which I prefer. Also, with this limited run, which this is from, we get upgraded pickups. Usually the H-150s come with Seymour Duncan 59s. This has come with Seymour Duncan Antiquity PAF style humbuckers. I believe they're Alnico 2, low output, honky, basically like fat telly pickups, and I freaking love these pickups. Also aged nicely along with the rest of the guitar. From the ground up though, this guitar is very, very familiar territory if you are kind of aware of those vintage type guitars. We have a mahogany body that is not chambered, a maple top, mahogany neck, rosewood fingerboard. So if it's all the same stuff, why do I think that Heritage are making better guitars now than Gibson? I think they have a level of consistency across the whole company and the guitars that they build that Gibson just can't compete with. Admittedly, this is the only Heritage I've played, so take my word with a pinch of salt, but from what I've heard from other peers and my friends who have played multiple Heritage guitars is that they are all amazing, amazing instruments. And I know from experience that every Gibson you pick up won't be a good guitar. I'm not saying that they're not out there, it's just that there are less of them percentage-wise. Clearly Heritage put a lot of effort into every guitar, but really I think there's actually a deeper reason for it. If you go on their website, in the standard range of guitars, there are only 4 or 5 models, whereas you go on the Gibson website, and in the standard range, there are probably hundreds of guitars. And I think Heritage have been able to strip back their core range to the basics, build it again from the ground up, and focus on what's important with these guitars. And that is the raw emotion when you pick up one of these guitars for the first time. So as I've said, I wanted a semi-hollow guitar, but I've ended up with this. Really, semi-hollows were probably realistically a bit out of my price range. They go for about £500 or £600 more than the H-150 across most brands as well. You know, Maybach, Gibson, they're all a little, you pay a little bit more for the semi-hollow. But this, as a limited run of guitars, this model is pushing on £3,000, which was way out of my price range. And this is where I actually got really lucky with this model. I believe it may have been returned by a customer, or even maybe they ordered it and never paid up or something. It was just sat in the warehouse for a bit. But basically that means that I got a mega deal on this guitar, and I actually ended up paying less for this model than a standard H-150, which is pretty insane. I'm still sort of pinching myself that I've managed to pick up that deal. When I saw it online, I just knew I had to jump on it. I did order it online, and when it arrived, on the day it arrived, I sort of knew in the back of my mind that I was open-minded. I might not like it, and I was okay if I was going to send it back and carry on this search. But as soon as I opened the case, played the first chord, I was in love. This was the right decision. Luckily enough, my good friend Joe Coombs was actually round my house on the weekend that this guitar arrived. The two of us really put it through its paces, and we kind of both decided that this was a really special guitar. Thanks guys for checking out the video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and maybe check out some more. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys.